Alright, so today I'm going to tell you about some of the mistakes I have made as a distance runner. Now, number one would be listening to my. Sorry, no, I'll go back. Number one, training like a fool. My first year as a runner, I used to try to run as fast as I could for every run, and that's just a bit stupid. And I couldn't understand why I was getting slower. Well, it's simple biology, really. You have to do easy base mileage. If you're just working anaerobically the whole time, well, you're only working one zone pretty much, and that's the anaerobic zone. And that really makes up a small part of the training. Like, let's say you're running a 5K, they say it's something like 85% aerobic, 15% anaerobic. So if I'm training for if I'm gonna run a fast 5K, I'm only covering 15% of the actual training, and that's a very bad way to train. Okay, so that would be my number one mistake. And personally, I just didn't do any research on the sport, and personally, I didn't even take running seriously back then. I just kind of ran for enjoyment back then, really, and to improve my basic level of fitness, so I could maybe be good at other sports as well. So that'd be mistake number one. Mistake number two would be listening to my dad's advice. Okay, my dad is a very pushy person. When I tried to move on to my club's training and not his training, he'd be shouting at me, screaming at me, making my life difficult, which wasn't very nice. And so my dad, he started coaching me. Um, I think I think it was the summer of 2012, my first summer with my athletic club. I was trying. That's when I really got into it. Where you know, I kind of forgot about. I didn't play any other sports that whole summer. I just trained with my athletic club. 5 days a week, and so yeah. I think my coach said he was going to write out a plan for me when I go back to school because yeah, I was in a boarding school. My dad sent me there to get rid of me. But yeah, so I was in boarding school 5 days a week, and I'd come home on the weekends and train with the athletic clubs on Saturday and Sunday. So my father, well, my coach said he was going to write out a plan for me, but he never did. So my dad wrote me a plan, and I took the easy option, just listen to his idea. And his idea was all speed, 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 and that the coaches in my athletic club, they don't know what they're doing because they're working too much on my endurance, and that'll turn me into a slow marathon runner. And you know, and so yeah, the funny thing about that is the people in my athletic club, like the top runners in my athletic club, pretty much none of them run the marathon. Even guys like in their early 30s, in the senior group, they don't really run the marathon. They run kind of cross country. They run, 3Ks, 5Ks, 10Ks. So even they're not long, slow marathon runners, and they've been doing the club's training for years. So my dad's idea was running 10 miles slow was a waste of time. You have to run fast, because when he was I think he was in a club he was living in Wales actually for a while, and he was in his like late teens, early 20s, and he was training with a club, and his coach went to all the courses in London, so they had him doing 4 track sessions a week and 2 tempo runs, okay, and that was just crazy. And my dad wanted me to do the same kind of training. To be fair, he only had me doing 2 track sessions per week. Well, plus I do like a hill session on the weekend when I went home with the athletic club. So that was really 3 sessions. But my dad said, "Oh, you should only do 2 track sessions now because you're still young and developing. But maybe in another couple of years you might do 4 track sessions." And that's what he kept trying to tell me to do. And through experience, I suffered from burnout. What happened to me? Yeah. So first year doing his training, I ran very poorly. I think I seemed to do well early on in the season. Like September, October, in the warm up races, I did quite well. But then come November, December, when the big races came up, the the Dublin Championships, the All Irelands, I just ran poorly. Okay, I think in my first year as a runner, I came 70th in the Curragh All Irelands. That was as a complete beginner. I didn't train properly back then. I had no idea what I was doing. I was just going out running 4 miles, maybe 5 miles at the most, as fast as I could. I was very inconsistent with my training. I still came 70th. Um, yeah, after sticking rigidly to my dad's training, I came 91st in the All Irelands in Ratoath. Okay, so I was really bad. I was really burnt out. I was completely. I kind of lost enthusiasm for running by that stage. Because I was telling my dad that I was tired and I wanted to maybe take a little bit of a break from the track, and my dad said, "No, no, keep training on the track, keep training on the track, keep training on the track." And that's what happened. I burnt out, and something similar happened the following season, except in the following cross country season, I did come 51st, so I made an improvement. That was in Waterford, um, if you know what I mean. So yeah, eventually I think in 2014 I got fed up and I moved away from my dad's training because I knew it was just horrible, burning out all the time and having to keep smashing track sessions when you're tired and run down. You're running slow times because you're so burnt out, and I was like, I've had enough of this. So I moved on to my coach's training, even though I got a bit of abuse from my dad first. And yeah, so that was mistake number two. What would be mistake number three? Would be sticking rigidly to paces. Um, the Garmin watch. I got a Garmin watch when I was 18. Um, so yeah, first ever Garmin watch. So yeah, I never had a Garmin watch when I was at school. I kind of just used a stopwatch and went by time in my runs. But then when I had my Garmin, I used to stick rigidly. Like my coach would say, right, you should do your recovery runs at like 7:15 per mile when I was in my first year of college. And I stuck rigidly to that, really rigidly. Um, but really, it shouldn't be so rigid. And I think maybe I overdid it a little bit. I think I suffered from really tight calves and hamstrings. So probably I was going little bit too quick in my easy runs. I think so. Um, and then after about a year, I decided to start doing my easy runs around like 8 minute mile pace because I felt like maybe because I think I had really tight calves the previous year. I did that for 2 years. I didn't improve at all. I made no progress. I stuck to the same standard. So yeah, 8 minute mile pace was a bit slow, but it's not about running at one specific pace on your easy days. It's about running at multiple paces. Like maybe one day you might run at say 8 minute mile pace. The next you might feel good and you might end up hitting maybe 6 minute miles for the last few miles of your run or something like that. So yeah, don't go rigid in your easy runs. Just go by feel. Don't overdo it in the sessions. Make sure you have a good bit of strength for your runs because they're the most important part of the training. So that's mistake number three. What would mistake number four be? Damn. Yeah, mistake number four would also be rigidly going by the Garmin watch by the heart rate monitor. Because the thing is, the Garmin watch, it takes your heart rate from your wrist, but it is very inaccurate. It's completely off. And like I started listening to it, and it's like it said that in order for me to do my easy runs with a heart rate of like 140, 150 beats per minute, I'd have to run at like 9 minute mile pace, 9 minute mile pace, or 9.5 minute mile pace. And I actually believed this thing, and I ended up losing fitness. Okay, so don't listen to the heart rate monitor on the new Garmin watches. They're just dreadful. If you're gonna go by heart rate, I think you need to get one of those strapped yokes. You put this like strap around your stomach and use your Garmin watch, and that I think that can give you like an accurate reading of your heart rate. But those going by the wrist just doesn't work. Okay, so just ignore that. Okay. Um, Number five, would there be anything? Let me think. Tip number five. Maybe being a little bit too obsessed with performance. I don't know why. I think I was a bit uptight about the running the whole time. I think it's because of my dad's coaching. He was very uptight, very very serious. And I think maybe that made me more uptight and serious about the training. I wish I had a coach that was a bit more chilled, laid back. That would have been because by nature I'm not like the most uptight of people. Like I remember my first year of training as a runner, it wasn't really, as I mentioned earlier, I didn't really take it that seriously. I just kind of ran for enjoyment. You know what I mean? And of course, I feel like I probably should have taken it a little bit more seriously than that. Maybe stick to a plan, but at the same time, I think I had the right kind of mindset, as in like you kind of ran for fun. You didn't put too much pressure on myself to win. But with my dad putting pressure on me to run faster all the time, I think that kind of made me more uptight and serious than I should have been. Especially like I think like 2019, I was 22, and yeah, I think around the age of 21, 22, I was kind of putting myself under too much pressure because I was like, all right, I'm not that young anymore. If I want to make it to the highest level, I'm gonna have to make a massive breakthrough, and I put myself under way too much pressure, and so it just didn't work out. So at the end of the day, I ran what my 5K PB was 15 minutes 18 seconds. That's probably about the best I ever ran during my time as a runner. So it's not amazingly fast, is it? Like it's not. It's not. It's a good time, but it's not like it's not amazing. You know what I mean? So for me, there was no point in being so serious. Like, what did I get out of it? Do you know what I mean? So like, I didn't run professionally. I didn't represent my country once. Now if you are a professional, then if you're sponsored by a team, yeah, you have to be. That's when you have to be serious because you're getting paid a wage. If you don't run fast enough times, you lose your contract. Um, and coaches are very strict and serious. Some of them, like I heard in the Nike Oregon project, Salazar was very uptight about things like race weight. Remember Mary Kane, if she wasn't at the ideal race weight, what's her name? Salazar would scold her, would scream at her, and I think if you do that, it just takes the fun out of it. That's why I don't really want to be a professional athlete anymore. When I was younger, I used to want to do it. I thought it'd be just fun, and no, because I was thinking, right, when I run with my athletic club, it's fun, it's enjoyable. The coaches aren't overly serious, but it's very different at the professional level. If you know what I mean. So yeah, I'd say they're my five biggest mistakes. I can't really think of anything else. Well, if I could think of one other thing, it would be starting off too fast in races. Because my dad always told me in races, get up near the front, get up near the front, which is really stupid. Like I remember my first All Irelands in the Curragh Army Barracks. I came 70th, but my dad was telling me at the start of the race, get up near the front, get up near the front, get up near the front. And I was up near the front at the start. I just died after that. Everyone just out past me. Um, so yeah, that's what happened to me. And looking back, I feel like my whole time as a runner was a bit of a disaster. Down to things like bad coaching advice. Being a bad coach myself, doing stupid stuff. Um, you know, and at the end of the day, a lot of times people look at someone and if they're not running fast times, they say, "Oh, he's not working hard enough. He's not putting the miles." That's bullshit. You know, oftentimes you just have a bad coach, and your coach isn't giving you the right kind of advice, and that's causing you to suffer. So yeah, that's the thing really. So yeah, if you yeah, I think that's my video. Can't think of anything else to say.